100.
Today we did the Moad drill, which is the mother of all drills. It's the largest drill that the city of New York has. We had 4 engines and 3 trucks. The drill encompasses multiple fires on 2 different levels in a 2-story commercial building. We have victims trapped, and we have a member in distress, which turns out to be an unconscious firefighter removal. We started out staging the companies a little bit away at one of our other burn buildings. Each company is assigned an instructor. Some companies have more than one instructor because they have a lot to do. Since their members are going to be in certain parts of the building apart from each other, we keep instructors wherever they're going. As the companies come in, each instructor speaks with the company, giving them a brief overview of what's going to be expected.
Just make sure you have all your stuff on. Your hoods, gloves, everything buttoned up.
How they're going to operate, first do, second do, rapid intervention, or what we call the fast truck, and most importantly, a safety overview. We make sure they're wearing all their gear because it is live fire. It's hay and pallets, but the containers and the buildings do get hot, especially on a day like today. So any exposed skin will get burned. So it's important that they know, even though it's a drill, to treat it realistically and wear all their gear. Well, after that's done, and everybody understands the direction we want the drill to go and their responsibilities during the drill, that's when we bring them in.
Ladder 127, Battalion 2. Respond to box 8888. Report a smoke in the area. Engine 33?
33 to command. We have fire showing on the second floor. We're going to give it 1075. Command 10 floor. 33 go with the urgent.
We dispatch them in to a 2-story commercial building, apartment on the second floor. Obviously, you have what we call a strip mall on the first floor. As they're coming in, we start lighting the fires in the different areas of the building. We want to try to make it realistic, and that's why we stagger the companies. We always pair up engines so that 2 engines are working to put the first line into operation. Those 2 engines come in, they'll take hydrants so that they have a positive water source. We automatically throw the first curveball by giving the first engine a bad hydrant.
Got a bad hydrant, 1070.
That means they have no positive water source.
Just be advised, right now we don't have a positive water source.
So they give the signal to let everybody on the scene know there's no positive water source, because that's most important going into a non-fireproof structure. The chauffeur has to deal with that along with the incident commander. As the incident commander, I make sure that the companies going into the building know that there's no positive water source.
Engine 33 to chauffeur. We're going to need water when we can.
And I'm also listening for the chauffeur to notify his boss that he's going to drop the booster, which is 500 gallons that the engine's carrying. So we always have 500 gallons in reserve, and that's what it's there for, emergencies like that. Most fires will go out with 500 gallons. The thing that I tell the companies to remember all the time is that he's got the second due engine, which picks up a positive water source, but even before that, the second due engine can run a line into the first due engine, and now we have 1,000 gallons of water between the 2 booster tanks as they're stretching to relay water to each other. We eventually get a positive water source. We get that first line, which is a 2.5-inch line, because we have a commercial structure with a large body of fire. They get the line going. The truck is already in there. The truck is vent, entry, isolate, and search. Those are the duties. We give them a report of people trapped so that they know there's a life hazard. We're looking to up the risk. We work on a risk versus reward. If we're just protecting property, contents, fire, structure, and we know there's no life hazard, we're not going to risk as much. I always tell the companies, we didn't go to work to kill ourselves. But when there's a life hazard, we're obviously going to risk a lot more, because there's a lot more to benefit. We got somebody in there that needs our help. And that's what we're here for ultimately, is to save life first and then property. So we'll always risk a little bit more. And that's what we're trying to convey to the companies. We give them that water loss so they know they're on limited water, but we also give them the life hazard. And we want them to operate safely, but to also risk a little bit more because they got to save lives. As that's going on, we start the fire on the top floor.
All right, I got fire out the windows on the top floor. Give me a line up there.
We like it to come out the windows so that the companies coming in can see. During the drill, I did have 2 companies tell me we got fire on the top floor.
Squad to command, chief. I'm taking a hardware store. Explosion 2. 10-4, squad.
So I assigned 2 companies to go up there.
Command 10-4, 176, top floor.
They went in a separate engine on exposure 2 side. Some departments across the country call that the B side. In the city of New York, we go 1, 2, 3, 4. A lot of the country does A, B, C, D. It's the same thing between numbers and letters. So they went up the 2 side. They go with 1 3/4 inch because in an apartment, we need the speed and mobility of the smaller diameter line. It gets them through the apartment. You got heavy clutter conditions up there. Very difficult to stretch a larger diameter hose and get that to the seat of the fire. The bottom line is, if we don't get water to the seat of the fire, we don't put it out. We'll wind up coming outside the building and trying to put it out with exterior streams, which is not what we want to do when we have people trapped. So we get that line moving in and the truck's moving in up there. We have a door up there that we pin, so they have to force the door. Up there we had 2 fires. We call that the decision fire. The first fire is small. You could get it with the can, and that's what we want. We call the extinguisher the can in the fire service. We want the truck to utilize the can and then control the door so that they don't create a flow path and make things worse by making the fire larger. And then start searching for the life hazard as the line is coming up, and then they charge the line, they bleed it, and then they move through the apartment, and then they put the fire out that's coming out the top floor window. While all of this is going on, other companies coming in are checking out the other stores below here. You can see we have multiple storefronts, and I have them going in there to let me know what's going on. We don't start a fire in the hardware store until later on as the drill progresses. We want that to be late because that's one of the later arriving engines. That's going to be their duty to get in there. The 2 roof firefighters go up to the roof. One went up in the towel out of basket and the other one up using the aerial rear mount stick. They got off, they brought their tools, saws. We like to bring a life-saving rope because we got a 2-story building here, and it's going to be very difficult to get portable ladders in the rear, to get an aerial in the rear. So if there is someone hanging out the top floor window, they can go over on a life-saving rope and get them on the rope and then lower them to the ground. So that's why we bring up the roof rope and then we bring up the saw. We got a top floor fire. We want to know what's going on in the cock loft, and if conditions get worse, we might have to vent the roof. And that's what they did. They practiced inspection cuts and giving me great transmissions about how there was only smoke in the cock loft, no fire. And in that situation, they would just put a couple of more inspection cuts to monitor just to make sure that there's no fire in the cock loft. If you noticed during the drill, we had fire out the windows for an extended period of time because it was difficult to get that line to the back of the apartment. Like I said, heavy clutter conditions. Normally, you would have fire in the cock loft in that situation. We can't simulate that, so I just told them, as the drill progresses, you're going to have fire in the cock loft. So just give me that report.
All right, you got fire in the cock loft? 127 roof to command. There's heavy smoke pushing from the cock loft.
When I hear that, I immediately go to a second alarm or a third alarm. I'll upgrade the alarm to another response because I'm going to need more personnel on the scene because the fire is getting worse. Within a short amount of time, the line gets to the fire, they put it out, and then I'll hear a report from the roof telling me that there's no more fire in the cock loft. We're starting to get reports. One of the firefighters is missing from his company. Less than a minute of trying to find the guy, we get a mayday for a missing firefighter.
Mayday, mayday, mayday. Call for the mayday. Hey, listen to my irons, man. We're in the hardware store. I had sent them back to get the engine, but he's not responding. Command to Squad 99, copy that mayday. Ladder 154 fast on the way.
I send in the fast truck, rapid intervention team. That's their job. FAST stands for Firefighter Assist and Search Team. Their only job on the scene is to be there for the members of the fire department. We have a problem, they're going to help us get out of it. We have a conference, decide what our strategy is going to be, and then they deploy into the building to get the down firefighter out. Our statistics show is almost 76% of the time, somebody operating in the building will find a down firefighter before the fast truck. And that's what happened in this drill. We have a down firefighter mannequin equipped with an SCBA and a radio so that we can go through everything we would do if it would actually happen in real life. He found him, he gave a mayday for the down firefighter. He got the fast truck to the down firefighter, along with the firefighter's company, which was the squad company. And then we also deployed our rescue companies. We're probably close to 4 companies working to get this firefighter out.
So all units, we have the down member, he's on, being packaged now.
Utilizing the fast pack, which is supplemental air, because he had no more air in the cylinder. So they put him on the supplemental air that the fast truck brings in. They package him up so that when we're dragging him out, he doesn't get undressed. Over the years, we found that if we don't incorporate the SCBA harness into the personal harness as we're dragging a member out, especially if you have 220 plus pound member that's soaking wet and with 110 pounds of gear on, you can see how the weight starts to get way up there. As the members are pulling this person out, we do undress them. That's why we've learned we got to form some sort of harness to get them out. Keeping that in mind, the drill, we always do what we call soup to nuts. Complete packaging on air. That's not how it is always in reality. If a member is down right inside a door and we know we can get him out by just dragging him without doing all of that, we'll do that. We always err on the side of what's best for the down member. So that's what we're thinking about. How do we get him out as fast as possible? And then I'll get all the reports. I'm looking for the engine companies to tell me that all visible fire is knocked down.
127 OV, you okay? Command 10-4, thank you.
I'm looking for the truck companies to tell me that their primary and secondaries are negative, and if they've had any, what we call 1045s, in the civilian vernacular, that would be a victim. We want to make sure there's no victims, so we do a primary, and then we have a second company come in and do a secondary. Because we also learned over the years that if the company that does the primary also does the secondary, they don't do it as well as if we get a fresh company in there doing a secondary. Because the company that did the primary is already saying, we did this already. So we get a different company in to make sure that there's no one left behind. And then we always talk to the civilians who are residents or working in the building just to make sure everybody's accounted for before we leave the scene.
Hey, Engine 3-3, account for your members.
Engine 3-3, I have all my members.
And then eventually we'll complete our overhaul, make sure we have no extension of fire, and we take up. Hopefully with no injury.
You guys did a great job of packaging them. You did everything right. You hit his EAB, you called your Mayday.
Dom went right. When he went right, though, I went up, took him onto the first floor. We found the stairs and went up. By the time we got to the top of the stairs, I was looking for him.
Everything went good in here today?
Really well.
Would you stretch a second line in?
Third, actually. They had us go with a third line because they said there was a fire in the hardware store.
Good drill, right? It's a good drill. That's what I was telling you. Right, a lot of stuff going on. A lot of stuff going on. And I'm not going to have me telling you, right, you'll go in this fire. Right, but again, this is as close as it's going to get. Absolutely.
When I saw that the company's coming out today, I knew we weren't going to have a problem. And you guys did not let me down. I really appreciate that. All the instructors in Tactical appreciate that. Gentlemen, be safe out there and keep up the good work. Thank you very much.